Good morning, everybody. Forgive my appearance. It's early. I have to be at work early. I haven't really done anything much with myself just yet. Sorry. This morning, the topic is loving others as we love ourselves. The way that we interact with others, the way that we treat other people. That is going to reflect largely on how, to be honest with you, how we treat ourselves. I would like to share with everyone a passage from Romans, the 12th chapter, beginning with the 15th verse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another. That means we treat each other this way as well. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble. Do not be wise in your own opinion. Repay no evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of all people. If it is possible, it won't always be, but if it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all people. Now, I have a confession to make. I have not been abiding by this. I haven't been. And to any liberal viewers or listeners, I apologize. I have said things in the past that I really shouldn't have said. I have done the same thing, as my feeling, with them that I feel they do with people such as myself. And that has been demoralized and demonized. That's wrong. It's wrong of them to do it to us, and it's wrong of us to do it to them. It's been wrong of me. It's a hard thing not to do when, people don't get angry about something unless the feelings are hurt first. I'm a firm believer in that. And that's the way it tends to go with me, so I'm sure that I'm not the only one. The main point that I'm making, or trying to make at this point, we have to love people, even those that make it very difficult for us to love them. We have to love them the way that God loves them, the way that He loves us. I know He's been incredibly patient with me, and still is. I'm sure the same thing has gone for you in your walk with Him. If God can be patient with us, there isn't any reason that we can't be patient with others. There isn't any reason that we can't love others. He loves us no matter what. We have to do this because this is the only way that we are going to win any kind of battle, whether it be a spiritual battle of our own individually that we're having to fight, or a collective battle of right versus wrong, good versus evil, if you will. And these people are not evil. They themselves are not. I've said that with a word, but they're not. They're just, I don't know. Best word I can come up with at this point is deceived. And we are here as disciples of Christ. Our main function is to bring others to Him. It is. And we can't do that if we are being hateful towards them and maligning them, treating them the same way that they treat us. That's not going to bring them to Him. And any of them who may already be with Him, That's not going to help them get any closer to him. We have whatever bad or inappropriate treatment that we get from others, we cannot give that back to them, or worse than what they give us. That can be very tempting. Believe me, I know. It can be incredibly tempting. But that's the enemy coming to us, wanting us to do that, because he knows that that isn't going to do anything but keep the division flowing and make it worse than it already is. That's all it's going to do. Love, kindness, caring, compassion. These are the weapons of God. These are the spiritual weapons of warfare. And if we use them properly for God's goal, rather than for our own selfish interests, then they will work. They will work, because people will see that we are being sincere, and they won't feel that there is any sort of an ulterior motive, because there won't be one. This is the only way, folks. I'm telling you, this is the only way that we're going to win this. And I'm not talking about in the mundane necessarily. I'm speaking spiritually. We have to treat others the way that we want to be treated. Christ told us that himself, because he knew it's the only way. That is the only way to see good come from anything. Now, that being said, I need to also bring up that, historically speaking, and even biblical history, especially biblical history, there have been many times throughout the course of history that God's chosen people, chosen or not, they were disobedient, they came into captivity, and sometimes for hundreds of years at a time before they were allowed out, before he brought someone to bring them out. The same thing can happen to us, and it looks like it is happening. And it could, and I think it's a combination, honestly. It seems to me, from looking and observing, that it's not just a combination of people who are not with God behaving the way they do, but even those of us who claim to be with him, we don't always, do things the way that his word instructs us to do. We listen to political leaders instead of being in the word and being in prayer, and they have a really bad tendency and a habit of swaying us from what we know Christ wants us to do. They get us so involved and so focused on politics that we do things like I've been doing here recently. And for a while, I got away from what he wants us to do and the way that he wants us to interact with others. I've got to keep myself focused on him and what he wants, and stop treating people who look like, from the outside looking in, to be the enemy, like the enemy, because they're not. It's their attitude that is the enemy, their mindset, their way of looking at things. But at the same time, they're fulfilling prophecy. We knew this was going to happen. None of us expected it was going to happen in our lifetime, but we knew it was going to happen. We are going into a period of captivity. That's just the way it is. I hate to say that, but there's no fighting it. You can't stop prophecy from being fulfilled. You just can't do it. You can try, but it's just going to keep the negative aspects going and make them more negative than they already currently are. We don't need that. We need to dispel the negativity with positivity, and the only way to do that is with love, kindness, caring, and compassion. That's just the only way. That's what God does with us. That's what we have to do with other people. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to have to go now. If I have the time and the energy later on, I'll come back on here after work, but right now I've got to go. In the meantime, you know what to do. Prep according to your own individual needs. There are basic fundamental things that everyone is going to need, like water, non-perishable food, body and oral hygiene supplies, first aid combined with Ebola prevention, because we're going to need those, and not just Ebola but other diseases as well. Weapons. If you've already have one that requires, combustible ammo, then stock up on that. You might need it, but I'm just going to say, like I said yesterday, the best weapons really to have are going to be stealth weapons. Staffs. Handheld objects that don't make any noise. Crossbows are very good. They don't make any noise. And in a situation that is apocalyptic, you don't want to be making too much noise. You don't want people that may not be favorable toward you to know where you are, or even what direction that you are in, because they will eventually find you. At any rate, until next time, I love you guys. I hope, and I pray that this has been beneficial for you. Till next time, Bro Ed the Red, signing out.